My greedy stepmother is demanding that I hand over my late mother's house because my father told her she could. I, at 31, have a stepmother whom my father married a year after my mother passed away. I felt uncomfortable seeing my father fall in love with another woman so quickly. I never thought much about it until my father and I found out that my mother left nothing to my father in her will. Instead, all her assets and her beach house were in my name. My mother left me a letter, and I ended up reading it and finding out things I wish I had never known. My mother, who was sick at the time, found out that my father was having an affair with another woman. She told me she had suspected it for a long time, since they found out about my mother's cancer, and since then my father had become distant. She said my father constantly asked about her will and how it reminded her that he would take care of the beach house when she passed away. My mother was shattered and spent her last days with an unfaithful person. When I read the letter, I couldn't help but cry uncontrollably in my room. I wished I had been there for my mother, and the more I cried, the more I felt anger and hatred towards my father and my stepmother. When my father found out he had nothing left, he started losing his temper and yelling, asking why he hadn't been left anything. It was clear that my father only cared about my mother's belongings and not her. I decided to leave my hometown and cut ties with my father and his lover. I decided to move to my mother's beach house, where I would try to start over. I've always worked from home, so moving to another area was never an issue. It wasn't until recently that I received a text message from my stepmother. She asked how I was doing, and I didn't respond. She texted again and was more direct. She told me I needed to move out of the beach house because my father and she were moving in, but if I wanted to stay, I could pay them rent for my room. I looked at the message completely speechless, unsure if she was lying or if she was serious. I told her the house was in my name and that I would call the police if they set foot in my home. She never responded. After that, I thought that was the end, until a couple of weeks later. I received a notification on my phone while shopping that there was movement near my driveway. I opened the app and saw my stepmother and my father getting out of their vehicle as they continued to unpack their belongings. My heart sank, and I immediately felt anger within me. I decided to call the police in advance and told them there were people trespassing on my property. By the time I arrived, the police were already there. Now you can check if there's a part 2 by pressing share and more.